Action. All right. Welcome to the Drip Da Vinci Show, also known as the Daily Drip, with yours truly, Drip Da Vinci. Let's dive in and dig deep. Today, we're going to talk about overcoming creative roadblocks, setbacks, and failures. Creatively speaking, there is no real failures. There are roadblocks. I think roadblocks can be best defined as distractions, things that prevent you from accomplishing your task, uh, things, and I keep saying, this is, it's crazy. You're gonna have to get used to it. I'm working on that. But things that distract you, things that get in your way, the creative process, you want to look at them objectively, find solutions, find a new road to travel to get towards the goal, to get to plan B, have a plan C, have some type of alternative route. A lot of the times, and I'll give you some examples, my creative process was declining so much because there was so many distractions. There were so many things that I was trying to balance, things that I was trying to keep afloat. I started making more music, which I was shooting videos, I was creating content, I was doing things, I was doing a lot. I really wanted to grab like whatever resources that I had because I had been stuck for so long and bring them to the surface. So I was in the studio every single night. A lot of the nights I didn't do shit. A lot of the nights I was in the studio waiting for the train to come for me to jump on and just ride it to like whatever stop it left me at. And some days were good, some days weren't as good. The thing that we really want to look for is the feeling, the aha moment. Creatively, we sit with an idea, we sit with thoughts, and they light something up in us. And I don't know how to describe that, but if you're an artist, a painter, a writer, a musician, if you're freestyling, if you're singing, when that thing comes and when that happens, it's like something like just lights up. You can feel it in your back. Once it gets up here, your brain is going at 1,000 miles per hour. You have this big rush of energy, and you're just sitting there and you're like, yo, like you're in the zone, you're focused, you're freestyling, you're singing, you're writing, you're doing all these really dope creative things, and you don't think about anything. You're in this what they call the zone. Now the zone, it's not just a creative place. It's athletic. It's physical. When an athlete is out there, he's like, yo, he's in the zone. He's in that space right now. He's at his top of his A game. So he's really going at it. You know, he's making the best plays. And that's how you get some of the best physical athletes. Creatively as an artist, it's the same feeling I would assume, having that rush, but you're not so much using more of your physical body. You're using your tools, your physical body's tools. You're not like running. You're not exerting that type of energy. What you're doing is you're channeling that those thoughts, that energy, that emotion, whatever you're bringing into life, and it's coming right through you. So when that happens, you're good. Like you're not thinking about creatively being in a block. You're not thinking about any of that. In my situation, the block happens when I don't feel that and I get frustrated because of it. So those it sets me back. It's something you don't want to be too hard on yourself because you start getting self-doubt. You get these demons, these imaginary things. It's always you versus you in that situation. So you start to look at yourself like, yo, I'm a failure. I'm trash. I'm not good enough. I can't make anything that's dope. I don't make anything that I like. And when you start getting into that mind state, the ball kind of like it just goes downhill. You get a small snowball, roll it down a hill, it starts getting bigger and bigger. And those things can take over you to when they do eventually create some type of a block. You let it overpower you, let it overcome you, and then that's it. It's game over. So what happens with me in that state is I take a step back from whatever I'm working on, walk around, I'll play it. If it's a song, I'll play it in loop it'll just be playing in the background. I'm not trying to write anymore. I'm not trying to come up with any melodies, any lyrics, because it's just not, there's that feeling, that excitement, that energy that flows through me. It's not there. However you see yourself, maybe you're judging yourself like, oh, this is not good enough. It's not authentic. I sound too much like this person, or it's people aren't gonna understand it. You start like overthink the process that to get you out of that zone. That's what happens. And I like to look at it objectively to kind of bring myself back. Like, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to accomplish in this song with this idea? Is it a feeling I'm trying to get out? Is it the reason why I'm stuck? Is it that is do I not relate to that feeling? Is it a different feeling that I'm confused about? But a difficult moment for me creating was when I got nothing but time. I got all the freedom I want. I have everything at my fingertips, and I can't get one word out to save my life. It's the only thing I really wanted to do was like write a song. Write a song about this, write a song about that. And I couldn't. It was challenging because I was in the feeling and I hadn't overcome the feeling. I haven't got out of the feeling. So I couldn't pretend to make a song about something that I wasn't honest about, like wasn't truthful about. I couldn't say like, "Hey, let's make a love song," when I wasn't really feeling that. I couldn't write a song. I couldn't write anything other than how upset I was, how much in grief I was, like those emotions. But I was tired of feeling that way, so I just didn't write anything. So that was my creative block. I didn't write anything, and I didn't get out of that block until I wrote, which was half freestyle, half writing, "Afraid to Love." That song was one of the songs that really kind of brought me back to life. That's when I had that aha moment where I freestyled everything and it just came out. And it was like I remember being in the studio, and it was such a dope moment for me that I got up, I jumped up out of my seat and I grabbed the mic and I just started singing. I was working on this beat. I started producing something and I had some pretty interesting melodies. My producer John was laying on the couch, blue lights, music playing, and I had said some melody and da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da, dun-dun-dun-dun. And it was like a bop, so it was like very melodic, and I was like dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, and I just kept playing off of that melody, and I didn't want to lose the melody to the words because I didn't want to have to find words to fit that vibe that I had. So I was really trying to be honest about how I felt. And the first word that came to my head was, never thought I love no one else. And I don't trust myself, 'cause it just gets so hard fighting all these demons. And if they're in my mind, how come I don't see it? So I look to you. Tell me, can you feel? And then once that kind of like that rhythm picked up, I was like, yo, the train just came to the station. I'm in this shit and I'm gone. Like that was the energy that I felt that kind of brought me back to life. It took me out of that, and it came through honesty. It came through like, yo, you got a melody, it's good. Like that's the whole foundation of this song, but you need to put something that's like genuine behind it. Like, what are you feeling? And run with it. So I wrote the song "Afraid to Love," and when the words came out, John jumped up like he was dead asleep. He jumped up off the couch and he was like, "Yo!" He ran to the thing so I could finish recording. He's like, "Yo, keep going," and he jumps on the on the keys. He starts playing with the sound, adjusting the levels, and like that, it just took off from there. And I like to remember the process. Some parts of the process when I'm creating things, I like to go back and say, okay, so how did I get there? Okay, first, what I did was I found the melody. I made sure I stayed on topic. What was the intention? You start off with the intention whenever you're feeling stuck. At least that works for me. I start off with the intention. What's the purpose of this? Right? So once you figure out what the beat is telling you in music, or what the canvas is what you want to come out on the canvas, you keep that as your target, right? And as long as you know what the target is, you can aim for it. It's like you're sitting in the dark. If you don't have a target to aim at, you're not gonna hit it. But if you can see just a little bit of light and a room full of darkness, and you know that that is the focus point, and I need to stay somewhere close to that reference, you create what you're looking for. So I like to write down my process. When I get something that makes sense, like, okay, so I started from A. First I sat down, came up with the subject that I wanted to talk about, the feeling, something that was bothering me that day. That's the subject. And now you find the right sounds, you find the right things to kind of match that element. When you get to something that is more familiar, that you can say, okay, this is tangible. I can see enough of this that I can leave it alone for now and I can come back to it later, and I know where to pick up from. You need to leave yourself, if you do need to take a break or if you do need to stop, you leave yourself just enough that it makes sense to you later on. A lot of the times that's not easy. A lot of the times we finish before we have something that is recognizable, understandable. We just scrap our work, we throw it away, and we're like, I just start a new one, because you're waiting for that moment. You're waiting for the aha to come out, and all it is because you're distracted. At least with me, most of the time I can't go back to something is because I was too distracted when I made it. I didn't set an intention for what I wanted to create. Sometimes we create something that inspires us to take a new direction, and that's dope too. If you create something that makes you say, "Oh, this sounds like a song," like, "Oh, like, it reminds me of Justin Timberlake," and you listen to a Justin Timberlake song, you're like, "I've always wanted to make something like My Love." But you're never gonna sound like them, so you have it in your head like, "Yeah, I want to do something that's like that," knowing that it's not gonna be that. And that's how influence works. People influence you to inspire you to create something that's along those emotions. What I do is follow through. You see it until it's done. You don't look at the clock. You don't look at the time. You don't look. Sometimes you don't even look in the fridge. You just sit there until you have something that gives you like, yo, like this is it. I got something. It's good enough. Let's put it away. That's where I'm gonna stay. The important thing is to push through any obstacles that you're seeing that you're trying to overcome, whether it's fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of it not sounding like somebody's going to enjoy it. Those things, you want to face that. You want to figure out why it is that you're not able to say what you want to say, why you're not able to follow through with what you want to do. You just sit there with those feelings and you face them, because you're definitely going to have an aha moment if you eliminate the distractions and you focus mostly on following through. You get answers. You find new angles to look at it from. You change paths. You find a new road for you to travel that you haven't explored. One thing that J. Cole said that really spoke to me was, leave no stone unturned. Leaving no stone unturned. In the process, we try everything. You try something, if it doesn't work, at least you know it doesn't work. Sometimes just by trying something, it makes wires connect in your brain differently, and you're able to see it from a new angle. Maybe your approach wasn't the approach that it needed, and it was just something to hold it place so you know where it needs work. You can say a word, and you can find 5 words out of the 8 words that sound amazing, but the 3 words in there, they're just filler words. Those words hold a place, and when you go back to it, if you're able to take one word out and change it for something else, or maybe change the type of story, or the a note in the key, you're able to look at it from a more clearer angle. And a lot of the times it's just because you're leaving no stone unturned. You're checking every single stone to see what's underneath there. And I love that. That's one of my favorite sayings, especially when it comes to following through and overcoming roadblocks when you get stuck. What we want to do is we want to embrace those challenges to help strengthen the vision. The challenge that I had was not being able to speak on how I really felt. I embraced that. I stopped and I removed all the fears that I had that was preventing me from speaking about how hurt I was, how sad I was, or those emotions that I didn't really want to face, I didn't want to deal with. So that was a challenge for me. And when I embraced that challenge, I was able to kind of strengthen my whole perspective on it and say like, yo, like this is dope. I felt good about it. You get it out your system, and you just release it out into the world, and somebody else can take that and say, hey, I've been experiencing this too. When I put out the song Afraid to Love, I got messages from so many different people saying like, yo, I have this song on repeat. Like, this is, thank you for making this. This is dope. And that in itself, I've never expected that. And I don't expect that when I'm making music, but it was a sweet surprise for me to be able to get that type of response from people by putting out something that I was afraid to put out, one, and something that was hard for me to even come up with, but I sat with it and I embraced it. And that's where it gave me more confidence at the end of the day. It gave me a new outlook on my approach to music and my approach to artwork and expressing myself. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. From there, the opposite is happening. So now I'm not in that place anymore. I'm in a much clearer state. I'm happier. I'm not I'm not feeling those feelings that I felt the first time I had a roadblock. And part of my journey now is like, where's the block now? I don't know if I'm looking at it wrong, but I want to go through this part of the journey with you guys. I want to create something new, and going through the process, it's therapeutic. It's helps you bring light to certain things that you may be avoiding, you may not be seeing. And as we move forward creatively, we can check in on new parts of ourselves, things that we've grown into that we haven't acknowledged or we haven't seen, and we can bring things to life from those new spaces. And I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the episodes. I hope you guys enjoy the talks. I thank you so much. Drip Da Vinci, holla at your koala. This is your daily drip with yours truly. All right.